Few things are more important to Canadians than our wildlife, but this precious living legacy is too often taken for granted. A century ago, massive destruction had virtually all of our wildlife at the brink of extinction. Prime Minister Laurier and President Roosevelt took extraordinary steps to protect it. They summoned their citizens, scientists, hunters, and landowners to face the crisis and address its underlying causes. They banned destructive practices and set clear principles for conservation. Their work replenished an entire continent of wildlife, an unparalleled success that became the world's greatest known example of sustainable development. That triumph of public policy stood for more than 70 years until powerfully connected interest effected a reversal of the public trust. In the late 1980s, governments rammed through a scheme to privatize, domesticate, and commercialize vulnerable wildlife, to embrace wildlife's greatest known enemy, and promote it all as agriculture. It was a stunning compromise of the basic principle of wildlife as a public resource, valuable only when it's alive. Elk and deer became commercial livestock, penned and selectively bred, with velvet antler amputated and sold as a folklore remedy, and farm-raised trophies sold as live targets for a guaranteed kill inside a fence. Protests from hunters and conservationists were ignored, warnings from our best scientists were dismissed, and every effort for rational scientific analysis was refused. But as predicted, the threats were deadly and the science accurate. It took less than 5 years for an epidemic of tuberculosis to spread through game farms across Canada. It transferred to cattle, bison, swine, and 42 people had to begin treatment. Beyond the enormous direct costs, Canada's billion-dollar TB-free status was compromised. By 1996, chronic wasting disease was confirmed on a game farm in Saskatchewan. As with BSE, or mad cow disease, CWD is always fatal. But unlike mad cow, CWD is highly contagious. Despite well-established science to the contrary, Agriculture Canada claimed that CWD does not pose a significant threat even to elk and deer. Under their lax protocol, the source herd went undetected and was allowed to ship elk to 40 different game farms, infecting at least 21. The disease soon spread to wild deer, and then in 2002, Alberta also confirmed CWD on both elk and deer farms. Confirming that spillover from game farms had infected public wildlife, the expert scientific panel warned that CWD is arguably the most important issue in the management of free-living cervids in North America. Brutally lethal in deer and elk, there is also great concern about potential transfer to other species. Tons of product from infected animals has been sold for both human and animal consumption. Scientists quietly dread a potential nightmare, not just CWD transferring to people as mad cow did through infected beef, but that CWD could manifest in human beings as it does in deer, where it is highly contagious. Incredibly, while continuing to promote and subsidize game farming, the Alberta government destroyed 10,000 wild deer in an attempt to stop the spread. While outraged Canadians were told that there was no option, officials refused to answer questions about the policy responsible for it all. In late 2008, this comprehensive analysis was presented to governments across Canada. The recommendations, endorsed by scientists across the continent, demanded immediate, scientifically based assessment under the leadership of the Government of Canada. It offered a framework to address not just the diseases, but the underlying policies that cause them. Senior scientists in every jurisdiction confirmed the accuracy of the analysis, the urgency of the threat, and that the recommendations were both reasonable and vitally important. Lured into the industry through deeply flawed government promotion, many game farmers, perhaps even a majority, agree that the industry should be dismantled, but they must be reasonably compensated. The Harper government didn't just ignore the assessment and its recommendations. In April 2010, they announced an investment of over $1 million in the Canadian Cervid Alliance, the game farming lobby, to help the cervid industry capture new market opportunities. This is an absolutely untenable situation. We implore all federal leaders, restore our wildlife heritage, commit to immediate implementation of the recommendations put to you in this comprehensive analysis. To everyone else, we ask for your support. please visit ourwildlifeheritage.ca.